Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear students. This is Miss Layla Al-Jihani. Inshallah, today we will continue our unit 6. Today, inshallah, we will cover 2 lessons. Lesson 6, lesson 7 and 8, about you and conversation. If we want to recall what we covered in our previous lesson, we covered the listening and pronunciation. In the listening, we listened to a conversation between 2 people, okay? Mainly, the topic of the listening was about garbage and recycling, okay? We learned what happened to garbage and we learned the benefits of recycling. Hopefully, you will apply this in your daily life, inshallah. For the pronunciation, we noticed the difference between pronouncing the indirect question and the information question, the WH questions. Do you remember? The rise and the fall, okay? For our lesson today, by the end of the lesson, inshallah, you will be able to differentiate between different places in your town. Also, you will be able to answer questions related to a given conversation. You will read and hear a conversation and you will answer a question based on it. You will be able to use new vocabulary. You will learn new vocabulary. Okay, and you will be able to use it in questions and answers. Okay, so if you can open your books, page 62, you will find about you. You will have all these questions in front of you. The first question: describe 3 things in your town that have changed in the last year or 2. These answers should be about you. You should think about your hometown, your city. Where are you living? Are you living in Riyadh, in Jeddah, in Abha? Think about it. Think about your neighborhood and try to answer these questions based on your life, okay? The second question, talk about something that has become cheaper or more expensive recently. In the last 2 years, did anything become more expensive when you go shopping? Did anything become more cheaper? Ask yourself this question. Question 3, compare things that are or aren't as good in 2 neighborhoods in your town. So in your town, think about 2 neighborhoods, okay? Tell me the things that are good and aren't good, okay? And question 4, what are the best restaurants, stores, and hangout places in your town? Does the class agree? Of course, you and your class, you're living in the same place, same town. Like, discuss the best restaurants. Tell them, I love any restaurant. Tell them what is your favorite restaurant. Do they agree with you? Okay, so it should be a discussion. You should talk to your friends. Okay, talk about the stores and hangout places. What do they mean? So when you have free time, where do you meet your friends? Hangout places, the places where you come together with your friends and spend time with them, okay? We will, for me, I answered these questions one by one. I'm sure you will do much better than I do. The first question, describe 3 things. I only mentioned one example, 3 things in your town that have changed in the last year or 2. The example provided, COVID-19 pandemic spreads around the world. People in my country started to wear masks and practice social distance. This is something happened recently, changed our society. Okay, can you think about other examples? Think about things changed in our country, in your cities, okay? And mention it with your friend, have a discussion with them, see their examples, compare your examples. For question 2, talk about something that has become cheaper or more expensive. The grocery prices are more expensive than they used to be. This is something I noticed, okay? Do you have another example? Did you notice something else? Okay? Discuss it with your friends. 3, compare things that are or aren't as good in 2 neighborhoods in your town. The restaurants in my neighborhood, so I'm comparing between 2 things. Do you remember the comparative and superlative, the grammar we covered? So we are comparing between 2 neighborhoods, okay? The restaurants in my neighborhood aren't as good as the ones in Corniche, if you are living in Dammam or in Jeddah, okay? So you're comparing the restaurants in your neighborhood and the ones in Corniche, okay? What are the best restaurants, stores, and hangout places in your town? Does the class agree? Okay, the example I provided, the Corniche in Jeddah, is the best place to meet your friends. It's a good place to meet your friends, spend time together, drink coffee, do some sports there. So it's a good place to meet your friends. Give your example and listen to your friends. Do they agree with you? Or they have other suggestions, other places they have in mind, okay? This is what we covered related to about you. For the conversation, before we start the conversation, okay? We have the conversation in front of us, page 63, okay? We have a conversation between two boys, Faris and Adil, okay? We have Faris and Adil. They are having a conversation, okay? We will read the conversation together. We will listen to the conversation also together. And I want you to draw this table in a notebook, okay? While you are listening and reading, I want you to fill in this table. Tell me, Faris, he has a house, okay? What is the advantages, the good things he tells in the conversation? He mentioned good things, and he mentioned disadvantages, negative things, okay, in his house or in his neighborhood, okay? So you have to mention the good things and the negative things. And also Adil, he mentioned some good things and negative things. So while you are listening, take notes. Write it, draw the table and take notes, okay? So the question is, what are the advantages, disadvantages of living in suburbs or city? So one of them is living in the suburbs, okay, outside the city, and one of them is living inside the city, okay? And you have to mention the advantages and disadvantages, okay? This is the conversation. Please follow while you hear the audio, okay? You will hear the conversation. Please try to read along, okay? Bismillah, let's start. Faris.
So how long have you lived out here in the suburbs?
Since I left home, about 2 years ago. I wanted to have a place of my own. The apartment was a bit run down, so I had to renovate it.
Well, you did a good job. It's really nice and cozy.
I'm glad I moved into this neighborhood. It's quiet and safe, and I have really nice neighbors.
Are there a lot of stores and green areas in the neighborhood?
Definitely. There are parks and supermarkets and a mall. The only thing is that I spend a lot of time commuting to work. But you can't have it all. What's your place like?
Do you know where the Rangers Stadium is? I live about 2 blocks away. I often can't find a place to park, and there's sometimes a lot of noise because of the games.
Why don't you find another place and move out?
Okay, okay. We heard the conversation. Each one of them, they described the good things and the bad things about their neighborhood. And also you notice some words highlighted in blue, okay? They are the words we find in Real Talk. You find it on your book, page 63. Real Talk, you find the word a bit, okay? A bit, what does it mean? When you say, I was a bit slow, that's mean I was a little slow. When you say run down, when something is run down, what do we mean? It's in need of fixing, not looked after. If you have something around your house and you neglect it, you don't take care of it. So you will say this sofa, for example, or this computer, it's a bit run down, okay? That means it needs repair, it needs work on, so it will be able to work properly, okay? Definitely, it's an expression that shows strong agreement. If someone says, for example, Ahmed or Muna, do you think we should go to the movies today or during the afternoon? If you are agreeing and you are strongly agreeing, you will say definitely, let's go, okay? Definitely, it's a word we use when we are agreeing with an opinion, okay? The only thing is that, okay, this phrase is used when we want to mention something, introduce something negative, introduce an issue. For example, you will say, definitely, I want to go to the movies. The only thing that I have exams, I have to study. So you want to do something, but it's like but. You have something stopping you from moving on or going to the movies, okay? The only thing is that means there is something you have to do, an arrangement, an exam, something you have to do, okay? Or for example, if someone asks you, is English an easy subject? You will say, it is. The only thing is that I'm not really good in conversation. So you have an issue. You use this phrase to introduce an issue or a problem, okay? You can't have it all. When you say you can't have it all, if you tell me that I have an issue, I will say you can't have it all. We use this phrase when we say everything has something negative. يعني nothing is perfect, صح؟ الكمال لله. Nothing is perfect. We have, everything has a negative side, okay? You use this phrase to introduce the negative side. You can't have it all. Let's see it in the conversation one by one here. Since I left home about 2 years ago, I wanted to have a place on my own. The apartment was a bit run down. So they used a bit run down to describe the apartment. The apartment needed repair. So here they mentioned also, so I had to renovate it. He had to do some changes in the apartment. Maybe he did the plumbing, painted the walls again to make it new again or livable, or he can live in or use it again. Another phrase here, Faris asked, are there a lot of stores and green areas in the neighborhood? Definitely. You're saying yes, but in a strong way. Definitely, he said. Okay? There are parks and supermarkets and a mall. The only thing, so he is starting to mention the negative. Keep in mind to fill in the table. Do you remember the advantages and disadvantages? So this is one, the good things. And when he said the only thing, he is starting now to mention the negative things, the downside of his neighborhood is that I spend a lot of time commuting to work. What does he mean? That means he's living in the suburbs. It's not easy for him to go to work. Maybe his work is far away. Commuting, that means going to work. Okay, this is the negative thing. But you can't have it all. Everything has a good side and a negative side. This is how they used real talk in the conversation. Hopefully, you will practice it more when we ask the questions later on. Let's look at the table. Okay, here, what are the advantages and disadvantages of living in the suburb city? So Faris, he didn't mention any disadvantages. He didn't mention any disadvantages. He only, advantages. He only mentioned the disadvantages. He only mentioned the negatives in his town or neighborhood. No place to park. He is struggling with parking. A lot of noise because of the games. Because he's living, do you remember where he's living? He's living near a stadium, صح? So when he lives there, he hears a lot of noise and there is no parking. It's crowded. This is the negatives he mentioned. What about Adil? Did he mention advantage and disadvantages? Yes. So the advantages, he said it's quiet and safe. Okay. Nice neighbors. good facilities like park, supermarket, and a mall. These are the facilities in his neighborhood. The only disadvantage he mentioned, commuting to work. Okay, this is the only disadvantage he mentioned. Okay. Now, you can see here on your book your ending. What do you think Faris's response? Adil asked a question at the end of the conversation, and what do you think the response will be? Number one, it's close to my job. What do you think Faris will say? Number two, I guess I'm used to it. 3, now I'm a Rangers fan. 4, write down your idea. What is the question he asked? Adil asked, why don't you find another place or move out? He asked him this question at the end of the conversation. He told him, why don't you find another place or move out? So what do you think the response is? You think. You don't have to follow me. There is no right or wrong answer here, okay? What do you think he will say? It's close to my job? Maybe he will respond that way. What do you think he will say? Yes, I will move. Yes, I will move out. I will move to the suburbs. Will he say that? Now I'm a Rangers fan. I guess I'm used to. Discuss it with your friend. Think, exchange ideas. Do you have the same idea with your friend? Okay. Now, for this part about the conversation, we have 5 questions related to the conversation. You can find it on your book, page 63. These questions, we will answer it one by one, okay? So we will take it part by part. Number 1, is Adil's neighborhood dangerous? From the conversation, we have to find the answer. What did he do to his apartment? He did something to his apartment. What did he do? Question 3. What doesn't he like about the suburbs? He mentioned a negative thing. You can refer back to the table, advantages and disadvantages, to help you, okay? 4. Where does Faris live? 5. What doesn't Faris like about his place? These are the questions. We will take it one by one based on the conversation. So the first part of the conversation here, we have here, okay? So it's this question 2 is related to the first part. So how long have you lived out here in the suburbs? What did he do to his apartment? They mentioned something he did to his apartment. What did he do? From here, from this part, he did something. It was a bit run down. So what did he do? Excellent. He had to renovate it. Adil renovated his apartment. This is the answer for question 2. Okay? Now for the other part of the conversation, we have 2 questions. Question 1 and question 3. Okay? It's related to this part. Okay? Is Adil's neighborhood dangerous? Did they mention here from the conversation, is it dangerous? No, they said it is safe. It's safe. They said it's safe. What doesn't he like about the suburbs? He mentioned negative things. The only thing is excellent. Excellent. He mentioned that he spends a lot of time commuting to work. Okay, moving and going to work. This is the only negative thing he mentioned. Okay, for the last part of the conversation, we have question 4 and question 5. Where does Faris live? Where does he live? He lives near, excellent. Faris lives near Rangers Stadium. This is what he mentioned, okay? 5, what doesn't Faris like about his place? He mentioned a negative thing. He often can't find a place to park. This is the negative thing. And sometimes there is a lot of noise. These are related to the questions. So we have all these answers here, the questions with the answers about the conversation. You can pause the video and write it down. Take your time to write it down. Okay, for the other part of the conversation, other part of our lesson, your turn. Now it's your turn to practice and do similar conversation to the one we read together, okay? Talk with your partner about your neighborhood. discuss the following things, okay? So you have to talk with your partner. You will not work alone. You will work with your friends, okay? It's a speaking exercise. So one of you will ask the question and the other one will answer. And then you have to switch roles, okay? Question 1, where do you live? So the answer should be based on you. Where do you live? In a house or in an apartment? So think about your life. Where do you live? My answer is, I live in a small house. You can say, I live in an apartment. I live in a big house, okay? Based on you. What do you like, dislike about your neighborhood? So you have to think about your neighborhood. What are the things you like and the things that you don't like? I definitely, do you notice I used real talk phrases? So I definitely like living in my neighborhood. The only thing is that it isn't near my work. Okay, this is the negative thing, okay, about my neighborhood. What about you? Talk about your neighborhood. What are the things that you like and the things that you dislike, okay? Question 3, what facilities are in your neighborhood? Think about your neighborhood. Think about the facilities, the hospitals, the restaurants, the coffee shops, schools. These are facilities. Do you have it all in your neighborhood or you have some of it? Okay? This is the answer I provided. In my neighborhood, there are many restaurants, a playground, and a hospital, but you can't have it all. Okay? There aren't any shopping centers or coffee shops. So I mentioned the good things and the bad things related to the facilities, the things I have in my neighborhood. What is your answers? Do you have everything in your neighborhood or you have some of it? Okay? So it's a speaking exercise. Ask each other these questions. Listen to your friends' answer. And for your homework, I want you to do workbook page 127. That's it for today. If we want to recall what we covered, okay? We discussed the difference between the places in our town, in our neighborhood. We thought about our neighborhood and we noticed the difference between places in our town. We answered questions related to a given conversation and we asked and answered questions using new vocabulary. We used real talk phrases to discuss the things in our neighborhood. That's it for today. Thank you for listening and inshallah I will see you next class.